Hey everyone, it's Lou with All Coast Inspections. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what is a home inspection. What is a home inspection? Well, per the Trek Real Estate Commission, it says, and I'm going to read this, a home inspection is a limited visual survey and basic performance evaluation of the systems and components of a building using normal controls that provide information regarding the general condition of a resident at the time of the inspection. Now, let me break that down. A home inspection is a non invasive examination of the current condition of a house. We can't tell what happened in the future. We can tell what has been the result of has happened to the history of the house. It is a visual inspection to the accessible components and systems. Visual meaning we are going to look at it. We can't see inside the walls. We are going to look at accessible. If things are blocking it, mama's china cabinet, or they've got the storage stacked up in the garage and you can't get to the electrical panel, that's not accessible. It is performed for a fee. Generally speaking, there's going to be a fee of some sort. Depending on who, what, why, when, and where, how big, and all, it depends, and that varies the fee. It is designed to identify defects within specific systems and components that are both observed and deemed material by the inspector. Generally speaking, we're not going to be concerned with cosmetic defects. Unless things like if the paint on the exterior wood is peeling and in turn now it's creating wood deterioration and stuff like that. Generally, we're not so concerned with the color of the paint and stuff like that. Little imperfections in the paint if it's not affecting the overall well-being of the structure. The home inspector will look for evidence of insects, water, or fire damage, or other issues that may affect the value of the property. They generally are going to inspect it as to how it is affecting the property so that you can be aware of what's going on with it. The inspector neither passes nor fails the house, but they will describe and make any recommendations for any deficiencies that they found. Okay, so what does that mean for you as the buyer? Well, it should give you understanding of the condition of the house, be it good or bad. It should give you the right information necessary so that you can make decisions bearing on your expectations, how much that you need to budget for. Do you need to look at contractors to get estimates of what kind of materials? Is it something that you can do yourself? Those kind of things. It should supply information and give you a better idea of all the major systems, the foundation, the roofing, the plumbing, the structure, the electrical system. Does it have copper or aluminum? Does the plumbing have galvanized or copper or PVC or PEX, whatever that may be? Should look at the air conditioning and the heating system. It should look at the ventilation of the house. Should look at the appliances, the oven, the range top, the vent-a-hood, the disposal, those kind of things like that. It may or may not. The inspector may or may not take a look at things like the washing machine or if it has a compactor for the trash and stuff like that. They will look at connections and stuff such as that, but they probably are not going to do an in-depth on washing machines and dryers and those type of things. So that should give you an overall picture so that you can make a better decision as to how you want to continue on this. Okay, a couple things that an inspection is not. It's not an insurance policy. It's not a warranty on the home. We are going to look at it as a visual. It's not invasive. We're not going to cut a hole in the wall to look in behind it. It's not a code inspection. We do follow the standards so that we can make sure that we've touched it all, but it doesn't necessarily pertain to directly to the codes that are concerning building. Codes change over time. Codes are something that builders use to give you the best possible product at the time that they are building it. It's not intended to predict the future. There's not a crystal ball that we can foresee what's going to be coming. We can't tell you how much life is left in it. It is to tell you what is going on that day. Now, life expectancy, We do know that roofs last 20 to 35 years, depending on the type of roof. We do know that an air conditioning, depending on where it's located, is, it can be expected 15 to 20 years. If it's on the island, not so much. It's probably going to be closer to 10 to 15 years, just because of the environment that it's growing up in. It's not an energy audit. It's not an environmental. They're not going to tell you about hazardous materials unless they can see it and they can identify it and that they know it is. They're not going to give you an estimate or price quotes on it. They can have an idea maybe that it's expensive, it's not expensive, but an inspection is there to give you the information so that you can do your due diligence if needed, so that you can contact a contractor, you can get estimates, you can decide whether you and your brother-in-law can take care of it, those kind of things, so that you can be better prepared, that when you get ready to move in, that it's ready to your expectations of it. Now, there are a couple of documents that are part of any home inspection. There should be a pre-inspection agreement. Now, that's not a requirement, but most of the experienced inspectors are going to require this, and it is required so that it can help protect you. That way, it defines the scope of the inspection, what he is going to do, or she, as to what standards they're going to follow, how much it's going to be charged. That way there's not any other charge, and it should be signed by the buyer. That way it is done and ready to go at the time of the inspection. The other thing that is mandated by the state, by the Texas Real Estate Commission, it is the inspection report. The report breaks it down into different sections: foundation, grading, roofing, roofing structure, walls, and such as that. It breaks it all down throughout the process. Now, it may have pictures incorporated. They're not required, but they probably, or a good many inspection companies do utilize pictures because it just helps to tell the story. They may be incorporated in the middle of the report. They may be at the end of the report, just depending on personal preference of the inspection company at that time. It should be delivered within an agreed upon time. That time is not just their time. They have up to 36 or 3 days to deliver it per the state of Texas, but it should be agreed upon time between you and the inspector, which is also should be defined as far as in the agreement. Once the walkthrough portion of the inspection is completed, then in turn it should be delivered to you, be it printed off and handed to you, or mailed to you, or whatever, or more than likely it's going to be emailed, and that way you have it for your records, and then that way you can look over it and make decisions. You and your agent will probably, both of you, receive a copy of it. That way y'all can talk about it and continue on with the process. A couple of top defects that we find on homes are flower beds too high. You need to have 4 to 6 inches on it, just so that the moisture levels stay low. Keep the moisture out of the house, and help to keep termites out of the house, which gives you wood rot. We find a lot of electrical concerns in older homes. The placement of the electric panel, the repairs that have been performed over the years, where you've got a octopus hanging out of the ceiling, and those kind of things. That way you can be aware of it. We want to look and see if we've got aluminum wiring or if we've got copper wiring. Both of those, have different sets of rules, and we want to make sure that you understand that. Roofing materials are another big concern. How were they installed originally? Have we had trees chewing on them? Have we had wood penetration? Have we had deficiencies created by the satellite guy putting the wires up underneath the penetration flashing? Those kind of things are all concerns that we need to be aware of, so that you can know whether there's repairs necessary or not. Plumbing systems, we want to look at that. How's it, connected? Is it leaking? Is it not leaking? Do we have galvanized plumbing? Do we have other types of plumbing? Do we have cast iron drainage systems? Not that there's anything wrong with some of those. It's just they all have a life expectancy. How's the disposal hooked up? Is it wired in properly? And stuff like that. That way you can have, an idea of things that you may or may not need to do. Structural damage to rafters that are separating, that you may have stress points that you've got because the home has shifted or settled, so that in turn you've got split rafters or beams or support beams that are missing, purlins that are missing, those kind of major structural issues that can in the long run create lots of financial concerns. We've got other plumbing deficiencies. We've got the drainage that is leaking out from underneath the house, or we've got the exhaust flue on the water heater that's putting exhaust straight into the attic space or wherever it may be located. We may have leaks or corrosion buildup on all the fittings at the water heater. Those kind of things. Does it have a drain pan on the water heater if it's located in the attic? Is it raised up 18.5 inches if it's located in the garage? Those kind of things that are safety related items that you need to be aware of. Water or air infiltration. This here is a picture of where we've got a water leak that is coming from the attic that's into a dining area, as it happens to be. The purple blue area there is actually a wet contents using a thermal camera, giving an idea of different temperature differentials. Now, granted, we can't see inside of it, but it gives us, the tools necessary so that we can see if we've got other problems that we need to investigate further. Okay, let's wrap up. An inspection is going to take you 2 to 3 hours, generally speaking. It depends on location. It's going to depend on age of the house. It's going to depend on the size of the house, some of those factors like that. But generally, it's going to take 2 to 3 hours. Then for the walkthrough portion of it, the inspector must be licensed in the state of Texas. You want to make sure that whoever you choose as your inspector, that they are fully licensed in the state of Texas. Not everything on a house is reported on. Keep that in mind. They're not going to report on cosmetic. They don't care about the color of the paint, those kind of things. Those are your choices, and those are what you're going to have to base your expectations on. Some of the appliances are not automatically inspected. Things like washing machine, dryers. You can request that. They can, let you know whether they do or they don't at that point in time. Not all inspectors use reporting software. Not all of them use the same reporting software. It's just like any business. There's a lot of different software companies out there. Some inspectors still handwrite theirs. Nothing wrong with that. It's just it's done in a different manner. Most reports nowadays are done electronically and sent to you via email or something to that effect. Re-inspections are you need to make sure that they are timely, and the reason being is that it's slowing the process so that you can continue on with the buying process. You want to make sure that that you've got the information in front of you so that you and your agent can make the best sound decisions for you. Well, thank you for watching this with us. Just wanted to explain the home inspection process a little bit. Again, this is Lou with All Coast Inspections, and if we can ever help answer questions, just give us a shout. 713-494-3721. Y'all have a blessed day.